In Southern Africa, the health department says ViiV Healthcare's newly announced non-profit price between 540 and 570 rand per shot for 2 monthly anti-HIV jab is more than 4 times what it can afford to pay. The health department says an anti-HIV injection is too expensive despite a significant price drop. The jab, which is injected every 2 months, helps reduce chances of infection. The jab, made by the UK-based drug company, essentially wipes out someone's chances of contracting HIV through sex if taken every 8 weeks. The medication contains an antiretroviral drug, cabotegravir, that is released over a 2-month period. Bhekisisa Center for Health Journalism's Malan expands on these jabs pricing. Glad to have you join me, Melanie. Good morning from here.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Okay, just explain to us why this jab is so expensive.
Yes, that's a great question. So I think there are 2 main reasons. The one is it uses very expensive technology. That drug that you mentioned in your intro, cabotegravir, has to be turned from a pill form into an injection form. And that process is very expensive. Secondly, it's new. We've only had it for about a year and a half since we've had the results. So there hasn't yet been economy of scale. And by that, I mean, there hasn't yet been large orders. As you know, the more you make of a medicine, the cheaper it will become. And if you look at how this drug is used, it's the same antiretroviral drugs as the kind of drugs that this cabotegravir belongs to. And that group of drugs is exactly the same drugs that people who are already infected with HIV also use for treatment. But this specific antiretroviral drug, cabotegravir, is not yet widely used for treatment, which is another reason why so much of it hasn't yet been made. And that is what donors are trying to negotiate at the moment, to place large orders for countries in Africa so that the price can come down.
Mia, what will be the likely impact of this, looking at the hiking price for this jab? I mean, people living with HIV/AIDS, what would this, what impact will this make in terms of treatment for them?
So first of all, this drug is not for people with HIV. This drug is for people who don't have HIV. And what it does is it protects you from getting HIV. So if you take this injection once every 2 months, your chances of getting HIV through sex, even if you have sex without condoms, is virtually 0. And that's why it's such an important product for Africa, because there are so many new infections still on the continent. And if we have medicine like this and we can get it to people and they use it correctly, it means we slow down the new infections.
Now,
it is a very important product.
All right, Mia. Now, the cost of medication in general is not only high in South Africa, but across Africa, where you have some people cannot even afford, to purchase this kind of drug. So what are your thoughts at broader conversation about the cost of medication globally?
Yes, that's very true. Medicine is generally considerably more expensive, for instance, in Western countries than in Africa. But the issue and the politics about this in Africa is that so many of these medicines are tested on Africans. For instance, this injection that we've been talking about was tested on many Africans, including on people in my country, South Africa. And when it then comes onto the market, it's outpriced, and we don't get the benefit of having helped the pharmaceutical company to get data to see if this drug works. And that is a huge issue that needs to be addressed on quite a large scale. Now, it's not the first time that we have medicine that's outpriced. If you think about the late 1990s and the early 2000s, antiretroviral drugs, in that case used for treatment for people who've already contracted HIV, that was unaffordable. And the thing that changed it dramatically was that there were generic versions manufactured. Now, you can't just go and manufacture generic medicines. You need to get permission from the country that produced the original drug. So in the case of antiretroviral drugs for treatment, there was a lot of activism that put a lot of pressure on pharmaceutical companies to issue generic drugs and licenses relatively early. What has happened with this injection is the company has issued generic licenses for 3 companies who are based in India. But because it's so complex to make this drug, we will not see a generic version before 3 years from now, and even that would be pretty fast. So the issue with a branded drug price is, what do we do between now and when generic drugs become available? We need to find a way to make them affordable.
I must say thank you for your time, Mia Malani. Thank you so much for your expertise. Glad to have you join me.